Hello everybody. Um, Today I will be tackling horizontal composition. I made a rough sketch here with my Sharpie pen, and it's just to give myself an idea of what kind of layout I'm going to put my shapes in. So I cut these pieces right here. So I'm going to lay them out, and wherever I put the pieces of paper, um, it will cover the plate, so it gives a stark white area. So I'll just put these kind of randomly. Sometimes the most successful compositions are when you put something random. Okay. So this is my layout here, and I'm going to press these down with a piece of paper so I make sure that they stick to the plate. Just use, I'm using a piece of cardstock because it's a little heavier. Okay, and I will be using my small brayer because I'll be doing these little spaces here. So I will start by applying this folk art sunny yellow. Folk art is a student grade paint, and I like it because it flows easily. Let me just make sure the only disadvantage with these guys is sometimes the nozzle gets clogged up. So I use a pencil or sharp object. Okay, it's acrylic paint tends to skin over when it dries. I'm just going to put that aside. Sorry about that. Okay, and we'll add some of this cadmium yellow just for some variation. But this will be the first pass. So the image will have a yellow and white combination. Now, this is very watery paint, so I have to be careful not to drip all over the place. And if you notice, my brayers are all very clean, because I did spend some time in the sink scrubbing them. I made that same mistake by not cleaning them right away. When you wait too long, it's harder to clean them because the acrylic hardens. That's just basic shop housekeeping. Okay, let me just even this out. And in a way, I'm glad that this is semi-transparent. I can easily see the stencil underneath. Okay, that's done. Let me get I find my razor blades the most efficient way to take these guys out. Okay, let me just make sure my fingers are clean before I grab the paper. Make sure my printing area is clear and clean. And get ready for our first pull. Again, I'm using Somerset English paper, which is a very good fine art paper. It's a nice surface, and it's thick enough to hold up to repeated printing, but it's thin enough to be flexible. Okay, this is the first pull, and I can see that most of the paint has transferred. Okay, to be careful not to smear it, but I do want to show you the result. It's a very vibrant yellow, and it has some little touches of texture. I guess that's the residue of the plate. I mean the ink that was there before. It's invisible on the Gelli plate, but it shows up on the next print. Fortunately, it's not bad. Actually adds to the print. I like it. But in my case, and this is just me, this is my opinion, I prefer to clean the Gelli plate very thoroughly before the next printing. I don't want to allow the paints to accumulate. So I will set this aside to dry until we get to the next step. Okay, I've cleaned up the Gelli plate for the next pull, and I will do a background made of 3 parts, made of these 3 colors. So I'm going to start with this. This will be 1 part. This will be another part. And this will be the 3rd part. Just a little, get rid of this dried paint here. Okay. So I'm going to use my brayer. Let me do the green part first. This time I'm trying to keep the colors separate somewhat. It's an easy way to clean. I just go like this. And here's the 2nd color. Now, it seems like each color has slightly different consistency. Okay, so that's color number 2. And this will be color number 3. And as usual, I'm going to put my characteristic marks on them. And I have cut a whole bunch of stencils. I'm going to use Now, in this case, I am not over planning the layout. I'm just being very spontaneous with where I place the pieces. And since I'm putting it on top of a wet ink or paint, I don't need to worry if this is going to shift around, because the paint is going to act as a glue to hold the stencils together. So I don't want to wait too long, so this will dry on me. So I'm going to do my second pull. So here is our first pull. Just make sure my area is clear. And this is one of those instances where the result is a complete surprise, because the placement of the pieces are fairly random. Okay. It's very nice contrast, very clear, distinguished areas between colors. All right, here's a second pull. It's very bright colors, very summer type colors. So I'll let this dry again and apply a third layer of stencils. Okay, it's been a few minutes. It's about 20 minutes. And here's the print so far, and it's completely dry. And it's good to wait till it's completely dry until before putting the next layer. So here's the print, just to refresh your memory. And I have cut a few pieces, different shapes. And what I want is, as I get more and more layers, I can do smaller and smaller stencils. So I'm going to arrange these on the plate, sort of randomly. that's kind of the way I want the shapes to be. I'm just going to remember it roughly. So I'm going to apply a much darker color, like a phthalo blue, and maybe like some red ochre for contrast. Okay, so that's red ochre. And let me get my and here's some turquoise. And maybe just to punch it up, put a very small amount of black. This time I'm going to use my medium brayer, and let's see. Okay, I'd say that's a pretty saturated plate. It's kind of on the heavy side because it's going to be the last pull, I hope. And since it's heavily saturated, I know these guys are not going to move around. They're just gonna stay put. Now I've found out that if I do it this way, put a heavy layer of paint, I can have more intricate patterns because they're not going to shift around. Okay, maybe just a few more pieces. Okay. In fact, in this case, I'm not even going to bother tapping them down because the weight of the paper will do the job. So here's the print with the two layers, and I'm going ahead to put the third layer. Let me just clear the printing bed. This is the bad thing when your printing table is not that big. Okay, I'm going to be very careful to put it on the registration marks. Okay, let's see what we got. Oh, I like this. I really do. It has the quality of a woodcut. And again, I'm aiming for that retro modernist look from the 40s and the 50s. And I'm very happy with this result. So I'm going to let this dry. And before I do that, I'm going to zoom in so you can see some of the detail. I'm very happy with the details. They're entirely unexpected, and that's what makes the printmaking process so much fun. It's a little different from painting because in painting you sort of plan things out very meticulously, and what you see is what you get. It's not the same with printmaking, and I think that's why I prefer this process. There's always the element of surprise. So there you have it. And if you like this printmaking demonstration, please subscribe and share with your friends. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.